I sat on my porch clutching my suitcase, watching strangers carry my furniture past me like I was already dead. Derek stood beside his wife Monica, both wearing concern like cheap masks. "It's for your safety, Mom," he said, his voice dripping with false sweetness. "After the stroke, you need professional care." I wanted to argue, but my words came out jumbled. The stroke had stolen my clarity for weeks, and Derek knew it. As the movers loaded my late husband's armchair into their truck, I saw Monica slip a folder under her arm. The words, "For sale soon," flashed in bold letters before she tucked it away. My heart sank. This wasn't temporary care. This was eviction. Derek opened the car door with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "The facility is wonderful, Mom. You'll love it." I climbed in, my legs weak, my mind screaming. Through the rear window, I watched my home of 40 years disappear. The home where I raised Derek. The home his father built with his own hands. Gone in an afternoon. The nursing home smelled like disinfectant and defeat. My room was small, sterile, painted that depressing beige that screamed, "Give up." A nurse named Clara helped me unpack my single suitcase. Everything I owned reduced to one bag. That night, I pulled out the documents Derek had me sign 2 weeks ago. He'd said they were just medical power of attorney forms, standard procedure after a stroke. But as I read them under the dim lamp, panic crawled up my throat. The language was strange, full of legal terms about property management and estate control. Temporary guardianship pending medical evaluation, one section read. Another mentioned transfer of residential authority. I didn't remember agreeing to any of this. My hands shook as I tried to make sense of the words. They blurred together, mocking my confusion. Clara knocked softly and entered with evening medication. She glanced at the papers, and her expression changed. "Mrs. Helen, those look like more than medical forms," she whispered. I felt tears building. What did I sign? Derek visited 3 days later with flowers and his politician's smile. He set the bouquet on my nightstand like it was compensation for stealing my life. "How are you feeling, Mom? The staff says you're adjusting well." I wasn't adjusting. I was drowning. "Derek, about those papers. I want to review them with someone." His smile tightened. "We've been over this. Everything's taken care of. You just focus on getting stronger." He patted my hand, but his touch felt cold. As he turned to leave, his phone rang. He stepped into the hallway, but I could hear him through the thin walls. "Yeah, I'm with her now. She's fine, completely out of it." "The market's hot right now. We should list it next week. Get the jump on spring buyers." My blood froze. "List what?" "I'm living there now anyway," Derek continued. "Might as well make it official. The realtor thinks we can get 400,000 easy." He was selling my house. My home. And he was already living in it. Clara found me crying that evening. I told her everything, my words tumbling out between sobs. She listened quietly, then pulled out her phone. "My grandmother went through something similar," she said softly. "Let me help you." She taught me how to use video calls, something I'd never bothered learning. Then she dialed my neighbor, Mrs. Leary, who'd lived next door for 30 years. When Mrs. Leary's face appeared on screen, I almost broke down again. "Helen. Oh honey, we've been so worried." She walked through her house to the window facing mine. "Let me show you something." The camera flipped and I saw my home. My beautiful home with the blue shutters and rose garden. Except the roses were gone. In their place sat cheap plastic lawn chairs and a metal fire pit. The shutters had been painted gray. Through the window, I could see new furniture, modern and cold. Nothing of mine remained visible. Monica's voice echoed from somewhere inside. "We'll list as soon as we get Mom's signature cleared by the lawyer. Then it's ours free and clear." I called Derek that night, my anger finally overriding my confusion. "You're selling my house." He sighed like I was a difficult child. "Mom, we talked about this. You don't remember because of the stroke. The doctor said you'd have memory issues." I remember everything, Derek. That's my home. It was your home. But you can't live there anymore. Be realistic. His voice turned sharp. You can barely walk to the bathroom alone. What if you fall again? What if something worse happens? Each word was a weapon. We're doing this for you. The money will pay for your care here. Isn't that better than worrying about property taxes and maintenance? I wanted to scream that I'd been managing that house perfectly fine before the stroke. That I'd only been in the hospital 3 days. That the doctor said I'd make a full recovery with therapy. But Derek had already decided I was helpless. You're confused, he said gently, like speaking to a child. Rest now. We'll talk when you're thinking more clearly. He hung up. I stared at the phone, shaking with rage. Then I whispered to the empty room. I may be old, but I'm not senile. Clara checked on me during her night rounds and found me still awake, staring at the ceiling. Can't sleep. I told her about Derek's call. His casual dismissal of my concerns. She sat on the edge of my bed, her face thoughtful. My grandmother's son tried the same thing, she said quietly. Guardianship forms disguised as medical paperwork. Took control of everything while she was weak. What did she do? She fought back. Got a lawyer who specialized in elder abuse. Clara pulled out a business card from her pocket. This is the attorney who helped her. Tom Breslin. He's good and he doesn't charge up front. I took the card with trembling fingers. Tom Breslin. The name stirred something in my memory. Then it hit me. I know Tom, I whispered. He and my husband went to law school together. He came to the funeral 5 years ago. Clara smiled. Then maybe it's time to call in an old favor. That night I slept better than I had in weeks. Not because I had a plan but because I finally had hope. Tom visited 2 days later, moving quietly through the nursing home like he belonged there. He was older now, gray at the temples, but his eyes were still sharp. He hugged me gently. Helen, I'm so sorry. I heard about the stroke but didn't know about this. We sat in the small visiting room while he reviewed the documents Derek had me sign. His expression grew darker with each page. Finally he looked up. Helen, these aren't just medical forms. This is a partial guardianship agreement. Derek has legal control over your primary residence. My heart sank. So he can sell it? Technically, yes. But there's good news. Tom flipped to the last page. The guardianship only covers the house on Maple Street. According to county records, you also own the duplex on Warren Avenue. I blinked, remembering. My husband had bought that duplex as a rental property 20 years ago. After he died, I'd let Derek and Monica live there rent-free while they got on their feet. They'd been there for 4 years. That property isn't mentioned anywhere in these documents, Tom continued. It's still entirely yours. A slow smile spread across my face. Tom worked fast. Within 3 days, he'd drafted paperwork transferring the duplex into a private trust with me as the sole beneficiary. It protected the property from any future guardianship claims. Derek would never be able to touch it. We're filing this quietly, Tom explained. No need to alert them yet. Meanwhile, I threw myself into physical therapy with new determination. The stroke had weakened my left side, but I was getting stronger every day. My speech was clearer. My mind was sharp. I wasn't the confused old woman Derek wanted me to be. Clara became my secret ally, helping me stay informed about Derek's movements. She'd learned he was meeting with realtors, staging the house, preparing for a quick sale. Let him, I told her one evening. Let him think he's won. Clara raised an eyebrow. What are you planning? Smiled. Justice. That night, I dreamed of my husband. He was standing in our garden, the one Monica had destroyed, and he was smiling. Give them hell, Helen, he whispered. I woke up feeling powerful. Derek visited with Monica the following week. She carried her phone, filming everything. Just for updates, she chirped. So the family can see how you're doing. I played along, pretending to be weaker than I was. I slurred a few words, Let my hand shake when I reached for water. Derek's relief was visible. "You're doing great, Mom. Really great." Monica leaned in, her smile predatory. "Once the sale clears, we'll make sure you have the best room here. Top floor window view. Won't that be nice?" I nodded slowly, playing the grateful invalid. "Thank you, sweetheart." As they left, Monica's purse tipped over, spilling papers across my bed. She scooped them up quickly, but not before I saw it. A real estate contract. For my house. Already signed by Derek as legal guardian. The closing date was set for 6 weeks away. They were counting down the days until my home became their profit. After they left, I called Tom. "How fast can we move on the duplex?" "Why? What happened?" "Because I just saw my deadline." Mrs. Leary became my eyes and ears. She sent me photos through Clara's phone. Pictures of strangers walking through my kitchen. Realtors pointing at my late husband's den. An open house sign on my lawn. One photo showed a young couple standing in the living room, the wife pointing at the fireplace where my husband proposed. They were measuring for new furniture. I stared at that photo for a long time, feeling my sadness harden into something colder. Determination. Resolve. The kind of anger that doesn't scream but plans. "They're treating it like it's already theirs," Mrs. Leary said during one call. "I told them it wasn't right, but Derek said you'd approved everything." "He's lying." "I know, honey. What can I do?" "Just keep watching. And take pictures of everything." That night I barely slept. I kept seeing that couple in my living room, erasing 40 years of memories like they meant nothing. Derek had reduced my entire life to square footage and market value. But he'd made one critical mistake. He'd underestimated his mother. Tom came back with a strategy. "We need to prove you're mentally competent. That's how we dissolve the guardianship." He'd arranged for an independent psychiatric evaluation, standard procedure for guardianship disputes. If I passed, Derek's control would be challenged in court. The evaluation was scheduled for the following Tuesday. Tom mailed the notice to the nursing home, marked for my attention only. But Derek intercepted it. I only found out when Clara told me she'd seen him at the front desk, going through my mail. "He took something," she whispered. "A legal-looking envelope." I called Tom immediately. "Derek has the evaluation letter." Tom swore softly. "He'll try to cancel it. He can't have you proving you're competent." "What do we do?" "Let me handle it." The next day Derek called. "Mom, the doctor thinks you're too stressed for additional appointments. We're postponing any unnecessary evaluations." His voice was smooth, casual, like he was doing me a favor. "For your health," he added. I wanted to tell him I knew exactly what he was doing. Instead I said, "Okay, dear. Whatever you think is best." For a week, Derek blocked everything. He canceled my therapy appointments, claiming I needed rest. He restricted my visitors, telling the staff I was easily agitated. He even had Clara reassigned to another floor after someone reported that she was encouraging me. I felt trapped, helpless, exactly what Derek wanted. But Clara, bless her heart, didn't give up. On her last shift on my floor, she slipped me her personal phone number. "Call me if you need anything," she whispered. "Anything at all." 2 days later, Tom tried to visit. The front desk turned him away, saying I'd requested no visitors except family. That's when I knew Derek was tightening his grip. But he'd forgotten one thing. Tom was a lawyer, and lawyers know how to bend rules. That evening, Clara called me from outside the facility. "Tom's here with a doctor from the county medical board. They're demanding to see you. The staff can't legally refuse." 10 minutes later, Tom walked into my room with Dr. Patricia Wells, a stern woman with kind eyes. "Let's get you evaluated, Helen," Tom said. "Properly this time." Dr. Wells spent 2 hours with me. She asked questions about my medical history, my daily routine, my understanding of my finances and property. She tested my memory, my reasoning, my decision-making skills. I answered every question clearly, precisely. By the end she was smiling. Mrs. Helen, you're one of the sharpest 70-year-olds I've assessed this month. Tom recorded everything with her permission. Video evidence, time-stamped and witnessed by staff. Legal gold. Your cognitive function is completely intact, Dr. Wells continued. Any guardianship based on mental incompetence is medically unfounded. Tom thanked her and turned to me. This changes everything. Derek's control is suspended pending judicial review. 2 days later, Derek received a legal notice. His guardianship was under investigation. The house sale was frozen. I imagined his face when he read it, and I smiled. Clara, back on my floor after the complaint against her was dropped, squeezed my hand. You did it. We're not done yet, I replied. This is just the beginning. Derek exploded into the nursing home 3 days later. I heard him before I saw him. His voice echoing down the hallway. Where is she? I want to see my mother right now. He burst into my room, face red with rage. Monica trailed behind, filming again. How could you, Mom? How could you betray me like this? After everything I've done for you. I stayed calm, hands folded in my lap. What have you done for me, Derek? I took you in. I gave up my life to take care of you. You moved into my house without permission. You're selling my home without my consent. You isolated me here and blocked my medical care. My voice was steady, cold. You didn't take care of me. You tried to erase me. Other residents had gathered in the hallway, watching. Staff members stood ready to intervene. Derek's mask had finally slipped. Everyone could see the real him now. Selfish, cruel, desperate. You'll regret this, he hissed. You're going to lose everything. 1 week later, Tom came to pick me up. The guardianship was officially dissolved. Dr. Wells's evaluation had destroyed Derek's case. I was free to leave. Clara helped me pack the same single suitcase I'd arrived with. Where will you go? She asked. Tom found me a rental. Small, but it's mine. I hugged her tightly. Thank you for believing me. Thank you for fighting back, she whispered. The rental was a tiny apartment above a bookstore. Just 2 rooms and a bathroom. But it had a window overlooking the park, and nobody was trying to steal it from me. That night, I slept in my own space for the first time in 6 weeks. True freedom. The next morning, Derek called. His voice was different now. Panic. Mom, we need to talk. The buyer backed out. With a legal hold, they got cold feet. We might lose everything. We? Asked coldly. Or you? He hung up without answering. I looked at Tom, who'd stopped by with coffee. Now we make our move. The housing market had shifted. Derek's rushed listing during peak season had backfired. With the legal complications and the sale freeze, buyers had scattered. The house sat empty, accumulating utility bills and mortgage costs Derek couldn't afford. Meanwhile, I was rebuilding my strength in my small apartment, walking daily, cooking for myself, proving I needed nobody's guardianship. Then the letter came. My tenants at the duplex, the elderly couple who'd lived there for 15 years, were moving to Arizona to be near their daughter. They'd given me 60 days' notice. Tom and I drove to the duplex the next week. I hadn't been inside in years. Derek and Monica had moved into the main house when their lease was up, but they'd kept their stuff in the duplex basement. The place was solid, well-maintained, in a good neighborhood. We could rent it again, Tom suggested. Or you could sell it. I walked through the rooms, remembering when my husband bought it. He'd said it was insurance, something to fall back on. He'd been more right than he knew. Tom contacted a private real estate investor he knew. Someone who bought properties quickly, no fuss, cash deals. We listed the duplex quietly, through the trust, no public signs. Derek didn't even know it was happening. Within 5 days we had an offer. Full asking price. $220,000. Closing in 2 weeks. I signed the papers in Tom's office, my hand steady. My husband's insurance policy was about to become Derek's reckoning. Are you sure? Asked. This is his home. It's my property, I corrected. He lives there rent-free. He has no lease, no agreement, nothing in writing. Tom nodded slowly. The new owner wants possession immediately after closing. Good. Smiled. Let them have it. 2 weeks later the sale closed. The money transferred into my account. And Derek received a letter from the new owner. He had 30 days to vacate his home. Just like he'd tried to do to me. Derek showed up at my apartment at 7 in the morning, pounding on the door so hard I thought he'd break it. I opened it calmly. He looked terrible. Unshaven, wrinkled clothes, wild eyes. You sold my house, he screamed. You sold my house. I sold my house, I corrected. The duplex was never yours. I let you live there out of kindness. We have nowhere to go. Monica's pregnant. We have a baby coming. This was news to me. I felt a flicker of something, maybe sympathy, but it died quickly. You should have thought about that before you tried to steal my home. We didn't steal anything. The guardianship was legal. It was fraud, Derek. Built on lies about my competence. I stepped back from the door. Now you know what it feels like to be pushed out of your home. To have your security ripped away. To be treated like you don't matter. His face crumpled. For a moment I saw my little boy again, the one who used to cry when he lost at board games. Then Monica appeared behind him. Monica looked worse than Derek. Her designer clothes were gone, replaced by jeans and a stained sweater. Her perfect hair hung limp. Mrs. Helen, please, she begged. We made mistakes, but we have nowhere to go. We spent everything renovating your house, thinking we'd get it back with the sale. You spent my furniture money, I said coldly. Money from selling my belongings without permission. We'll pay you back. Just give us the duplex back. We'll rent it properly. Sign a lease. I almost laughed. The duplex is sold. Closed yesterday. You have 28 days to move out. Monica's face went white. 28 days. We can't find a place in 28 days. Not with our credit. You should have thought about that before committing fraud. Derek grabbed Monica's arm. Let's go. She doesn't care about us. I cared about you for 32 years, I called after them. I raised you, loved you, gave you everything. You repaid me by trying to erase me. They left without another word. I closed the door and leaned against it, shaking. Not from fear. From adrenaline. From the powerful feeling of justice. Clara called me that evening. She'd heard through mutual friends that Monica had left Derek, packed a bag and moved in with her mother, taking the pregnancy with her. She blamed him for everything, Clara told me. Said it was his idea, his plan, his greed. I wasn't surprised. People like Monica always scattered when things fell apart. Meanwhile, Derek's world continued to crumble. The house on Maple Street sat unsold. The mortgage payments he'd taken over in my name were defaulting. The realtor was threatening to sue for breach of contract. His job at the insurance company had fired him after the legal trouble became public. And the duplex eviction was in 2 weeks. Mrs. Leary sent me a photo. Derek's truck parked outside my old house, boxes visible through the windows. He was moving back in, trying to squat in a property he no longer controlled. Tom filed an eviction notice immediately. He's desperate, Tom said. Be careful. Desperate people do unpredictable things. But I wasn't afraid anymore. Derek had already taken his best shot. He'd failed. Derek called 3 days before the eviction. Mom, can we meet? Please. I need to talk to you. Against Tom's advice, I agreed. But I chose the location. The nursing home cafeteria where this all began. Derek arrived looking hollow. He'd lost weight. His clothes hung loose. He sat across from me like a man at his execution. I'm sorry, he started. I know I hurt you. I know I was wrong. You tried to steal my home. You locked me away. You lied about my mental state. My voice was calm. Sorry doesn't fix that. I was desperate. Monica wanted the nice house. Her friends all had money. I felt like a failure. So you decided to destroy your mother instead of getting a better job? Derek flinched. What do you want from me? Nothing. I slid a brochure across the table. But they're hiring maintenance staff here. Good benefits. Honest work. He stared at the brochure like I'd slapped him. You want me to work at the nursing home? I want you to understand what it means to start over with nothing. Like you tried to make me do. I stood up. Good luck, Derek. As I walked away, Clara gave me a subtle thumbs up from the nurse's station. Felt good. Really good. Word spread through our small town like wildfire. People loved gossip, and Derek's fall from grace was premium material. The realtor's lawsuit became public record. The fraud investigation made the local paper. Mrs. Leary told everyone who'd listen about what Derek had tried to do. My reputation, which Derek had destroyed with whispers of my mental decline, was suddenly restored. People stopped me at the grocery store to say they always knew Derek was trouble. Former neighbors called to apologize for not checking on me. The town gossip, usually vicious, had turned protective. Meanwhile, Derek and Monica's marriage officially ended. Divorce papers were filed. Monica got the car and whatever was left in their savings. Derek got nothing. He moved into a studio apartment across town, the kind with stained carpet and broken blinds. Mrs. Leary sent me one final photo. Derek loading boxes into his truck, leaving the duplex for the last time. The new owners stood on the porch, watching him go. It's over, Mrs. Leary said when she called. He's really gone. But for me it wasn't over yet. I had one more thing to do. Tom drove me to my old house on Maple Street. The legal hold had been lifted when Derek withdrew his guardianship petition. The house was technically still mine, though Derek had nearly destroyed that with his schemes. I walked through slowly, seeing the damage. Monica had painted over my wallpaper. They'd removed the built-in bookshelves my husband made. The kitchen cabinets were different, cheaper. But the bones of the house remained. The fireplace where we got engaged. The window where I'd watched Derek learn to ride a bike. 40 years of memories, scarred but surviving. I placed a photo of my husband on the mantel, the one from our 30th anniversary. We won, dear, I whispered. It took longer than expected, but we won. Mrs. Leary had left a casserole on the porch. Clara sent flowers. Tom had quietly arranged for the utilities to be transferred back to my name. I could move back in if I wanted. But as I stood in that empty living room, I realized something. I didn't want to. This house was the past. Beautiful but finished. The duplex sale money, plus my savings, was enough to buy a small cottage outright. No mortgage. No debt. Just ownership. I found it 2 weeks later, on the edge of town near the river. 1 bedroom, tiny kitchen, a porch with a view of the water. The previous owner had planted wildflowers everywhere. The yard was chaos in color and completely perfect. I moved in on a Tuesday. Clara helped me unpack, hanging curtains and arranging my few pieces of furniture. You look different, she said. 10 years younger. Felt it too. Lighter. Free. The weight of Derek's betrayal had crushed me for months, but now it was gone. I'd faced the worst thing a parent can face and survived. That evening, I sat on my new porch with tea, watching the sunset paint the river gold. My phone rang. Realtor. Mrs. Helen. I'm calling about the property on Maple Street. We have a serious buyer. Cash offer. They'd like to close quickly. Smiled. Tell them I accept. Letting go of that house felt like exhaling after holding my breath for years. Someone else would make new memories there. I already had mine. 3 months later, Derek appeared at my cottage. I was gardening, something I'd rediscovered with my new free time. He stood at the gate, hands in his pockets, looking unsure. Mom. I set down my trowel. Derek. Can we talk? I gestured to the porch. He sat stiffly while I poured 2 glasses of lemonade. He looked better. Cleaner. like he'd been eating regularly. I got a job, he said quietly. Maintenance at a hospital 2 towns over. It's honest work. Good. Monica had the baby. A girl. We're not together, but I see her sometimes. He stared at his hands. I came to say I'm sorry. Really sorry. Not because I want anything. I just needed you to know. I studied my son. Really looked at him. Saw the regret in his eyes. The weight of consequences he was finally carrying. I appreciate that, Derek. Do you think you'll ever forgive me? Maybe, I said honestly. But not today. He nodded, understanding. That's fair. He stood to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, you were right. About everything. I let greed turn me into someone Dad would have hated. Your father would have been disappointed, I agreed. But he also believed people could change. Derek's eyes watered. Thanks, Mom. As he walked away, I called out. Derek. He turned. Your daughter deserves a father who knows what matters. I raised you to work for what you want. I just never knew I'd have to teach you that lesson twice. He smiled sadly. I'm trying to learn it now. I watched him drive away, then returned to my garden. The wildflowers needed watering. Life needed living. And I finally had both.